You better choose yourself and let's get it. Welcome to another episode on the Choose Yourself channel, dedicated to triggering you to choose yourself through radical accountability, healing through humor, and the Choose Yourself community. The CYC, come on now. You talk about contribution, but you filling your body with pollution. What you doing? We got the gut repair solution. But you don't want to invest in yourself to be the best of yourself, and you're going to half-ass your life with your glass half full. The old people deserve that. Pillar 5 of the Choose Yourself process, the C of the TEFIC, T-E-F-I-C, is contribution from your authenticity. We got the GPS formula, which we utilize to help understand what our contribution can be. Gift, passion, story, GPS. Where you going? What direction? The opposite way of self-neglection. Come on now, you got to practice acceptance and reflection to control your projections. How are you going to contribute to the people you love? You got to fill up your cup and then pull from an overflow. And I'm not talking about contribute when you go bust your ass working for someone else and then you bring money back. That's one part. Of course, people need that. I'm talking about contribution by exemplifying what it means to be yourself, to choose yourself, to love yourself, to stay true to yourself. It's not about what you actually give to people. It's about giving them permission to be and choose themselves by showing them what that's like with the TEFIC. This episode, we on the last pillar, pillar 5, creation and contribution. I know y'all like, finally, we're at the end. So much information, so many systems, so many gold nuggets. This ain't the end. It's the beginning of the end. Every day is the beginning of the end. You got to repeat next time you level up. This process never stops. The journey is subjective. The destiny is objective. Just be more selective with your perspective and be less neglective. Once you get to a new level, you will make new investments. Different price, different gym, different food, different house, different city. Once you get to a new level, you will contribute at a higher rate. And that's guaranteed. But you got to keep growing and glowing and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. It ain't funny. Now, this is the final pillar, the playoff round. Graduation to the upgraded version of your soul. But understand, once you get to the championship, you got a whole nother season for the rest of your life. And it's not about performance, it's about permission from you to be able to be authentic everywhere you go by doing what you said you would do when you were in solitude. Most people spend their life acting. You the star of your own movie, the main star and the director. And if you don't like the movie, you can't change the projector screen. You got to change the projector, which is you. You going to look in the mirror and don't like what's on your face and then try to clean the mirror? What you doing? You got to clean your face. Are you creating a character for society, or are you creating your character to impact society? And that's the difference between losing yourself and creating a character for society, or choosing yourself and creating your character for society. Which one you gonna choose? Authenticity or approval? I realized when I stopped going out so much that I was actually performing for the people at the parties. I was seeking that attention as if I was the all-star on the team. So I kept sabotaging my life to end up at these parties for as long as I could, instead of developing my purpose, because in my purpose, I had to retreat from these parties and then I'd have to be lonely and I'd have to sit with myself. So it wasn't long until I got that 8 days and that 8 months of sobriety before I embraced solitude, the cocoon phase. 1 caterpillar per cocoon. They don't call me cocoon Hakeem for nothing. Wait, that sounded kind of racist. They don't call me cocoon cuck. Nah, we ain't doing that. They don't call me cookie. You get it. Listen, you ain't gonna be a butterfly if you don't embrace solitude. You can't bring caterpillars in your damn cocoon. You can't get sleep. Well, maybe. But once I embraced that solitude and developed into this version, creating content, creating resources, writing books, podcasts, retreats, now the people from the parties talking about, hell, I'm still stuck. Like, yeah, you are. Because you're high as hell and drunk and you ain't sleeping and your gut's all fucked up. Trust me, I know, been there. And if it wasn't for the justice system, I might still be there. But I was forced into solitude, forced into sobriety, and I'm grateful for it. That's where you find the power in your pain. It hurt like a motherfucker the whole time. But at the end of that 8 months, I took advantage of an opportunity to partner with my uncle and start selling liquor instead of drinking liquor, except I hadn't quite done the healing as much as I thought I had. So I was dabbling back and forth in the balance. And that balance took a couple more trigger points that reminded me of the old version till I was like, okay, I'm aware. Turned the trigger points into turning points. I turned up, led the company in sales, and I moved out. Because I did the systems so that the trigger points didn't turn to breaking points. The trigger points were turning points. Now those same things that would trigger me before into partying, numbing, and masking, they trigger me to be like, oh shit, it's coming again. Skirt. Evaluate my environment, set the foundation, invest in myself. Oh shit, there's another trigger. Let me call my boy. Let me call the drug dealer. Let me go out. Nope, hold up. That was another trigger point. Evaluate my environment, set the foundation, invest in myself. Because I had the systems. Now, I didn't have them identified like this, but I had things I was doing that are now under those pillars, and developing it into the TEFIC is the best way I can explain it and provide it to other people so they can apply it to their own life. Now, the trigger point will always be a trigger point till you do the work. Come on now. The brain literally rewires based on repeated identity-based behaviors. Identity-based. Meaning, if you sabotage and neglect yourself in solitude every single day, when you go into the world, you will continue to do the same damn thing. You'll align with people who do the same damn thing that you do to you in solitude. And your identity comes from the things you do most consistently when you're by yourself. Now, the dopamine reward loops will then generate identity consistency and then create permanence of your self-image. Progress releases dopamine. Getting up on time, going to sleep on time, checking the boxes in your foundation, release dopamine. That becomes your identity from consistency. Then it starts to develop a permanence of your self-image. Then you go into the world, and that's how people gonna treat you. Both sides of the pendulum, y'all. Pendulum swinging. You can't create a new life in the same nervous system settings. Our nervous system will mold our environment so that it goes back to its baseline. If it's anxious, if it's self-doubt, if it sabotages itself, it will find things in the environment to justify those beliefs. Cognitive bias. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Out here trying to manifest abundance and you still healing from 2017. Pre-COVID, what you doing? That version's still here. Come on now, you better go back into your story. You give your gift by tapping into your passion and embracing your story. But you got to embrace your story first, implement the systems to add time to tap into your passion every day, and then the person you become and you get around people, they'll start to benefit from your gift. Oftentimes, we don't see our gift. Here's a way to see what your gift is. Call 5 people closest to you, ask them what their favorite thing is about you. That's going to be your gift. You probably going to be like, oh, shit, I didn't even know I do that. Yep, because it's your gift. Now, doing the foundation work, it takes time. Start small, but stay consistent. Never skip. That's the key. Stay consistent. That's why we have the 3 non-negotiables. That's why we have the digital sunset, digital sunrise. It's applicable to everybody. You can have a 15-morning routine. You can have a 5-hour morning routine. Do not skip, because that consistency is what creates your identity and then creates permanence of your self-image. And then that's the purpose-driven version that's going to contribute to everybody else. Eventually increase your revenue based off of authenticity. And when you start getting paid from creating from truth, when you start to get paid from creating from truth and authenticity in your story, ain't nothing more fulfilling than that, because that's who you was created to be. Now, my foundation was non-existent when I broke my ankle in 2015 spring. All the way until the end of summer 2017, I was blacked out in the black market, no foundation. Up for days, around people all the time, barely going home. In the streets. Head was not on a swivel. That was me contributing to the party, contributing to performing, contributing to approval. That's what that was, because I was empty. Then when I got in that 8 days, followed by 8 months of sobriety and restrictions, I did the transformation in my cocoon of personal development, reading books, fitness, journaling. Meditation came last. But in those systems, I started to develop a new form of confidence. I started to see a new version come out when I was around other people because of the way I was treating myself in solitude. And that became very intriguing for me. Then when I started to show that I was evolving, my uncle was like, oh, he's doing well. Let's give him an opportunity. So I partnered with him and I started doing sales. I went from drinking liquor to selling liquor. but I still had that addiction demon inside me. So for about the first 6 months, I was sabotaging my opportunity to get back to my nervous system's baseline, which was out for days, people pleasing, performing for people, seeking validation, seeking approval. So I was dabbling. I'd party from Thursday to Sunday, then I'd work from Monday to Thursday, half and half. Similar to the balance I did in my third college. When we get triggered to change by force, our next breaking point is inevitable. When we get triggered to change by choice, the next breaking point becomes a turning point and a part of experience. But in my first dark place, when I came out, I was balancing masking with sports. And then in the off season, I didn't have sports. I didn't have people pleasing. I didn't have people waiting on me or depending on me. So I would mask with numbing, mask numb, all freshman, mask numb, all sophomore year, mask numb, all junior year, mask numb, all senior year, mask, wasn't ready for the NFL, broke my ankle, there goes my identity, back into my dark place, now the mask is gone, then I numbed. 2016 spring to 2017 fall, got into the justice system, did 8 months, got out for 30 days, went back for 8 months. But the second 8 months, I was in 8 days of solitude by myself, so I was forced through withdrawals and accountability on day 4. Then I started doing 25 push-ups every 15 minutes for the last 4 days, and fitness was my way of meditation and therapy because I didn't have a book, a pen, a pad, nothing. This is part of the process of breaking free. Doesn't have to be this painful, doesn't have to be this lonely. We got the CYC. But for me, it was nobody. No touchdowns, no relationships. Mama D was there, giving me love, support, but she couldn't help me. No one can help you until you help yourself. No one can come get you from the dark until you turn the light on, because we can't even see it. We don't even know who that version is. Who is that? I can't help that motherfucker. Who is that crazy motherfucker? I know that's what people was thinking. King, crazy King, he can't come over. He gonna fuck this whole party up. Yep, and I would. Somebody getting whooped, something getting drank, something getting broke. Reckless, just like the feelings inside. So I was balancing when I first started with sales, and it started to show in my work. My expenses were out of control. My product depletion was out of control. It didn't align with the accounts I had. And my uncle called me and was like, hey, what's going on? You keep this up, I got to let you go. That was a warning. That was a warning. Just like I had the warning in high school, but I quit. I had the warning in college, D1, but I quit. I had the warning D2, but I quit. Back into my dark place. Graduated D3, I had the warning, but I wasn't prepared. Back into my dark place. Climbed up, personal development, going into sales. That was my warning. I said, oh, shit. I ain't fucking this up. I done messed up all these opportunities. I'm not messing this up. And there was a drastic shift in my foundation. First thing, no sleepovers during the week. Had my curfew. Kick out time. 8 o'clock, you gotta go. I don't care if we're in the middle of the act. Ain't nobody coming tonight. We all going. You going home, I'm going to sleep. That was my first implementation in the foundation. No sleepovers during the week. On the weekend, I was partying. So if you know anything about partying, it shuts down your prefrontal cortex and you start doing all kinds of crazy shit. So I was still kind of dabbling with that, but I knew every time that I came back to my foundation, I felt the impact of my choices on the weekend, and then my desires to change became stronger than my desire to people please and perform at these parties and be the lead guy, top promoter. That was the shift. My intention became more important than my temptation. So gradually, I started increasing my foundation. I turned the TV off, stopped bringing my phone to bed. Then I started listening to motivational YouTube videos in the morning. Eric Thomas, David Goggins, Andrew Tate, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, The Rock, to get me motivated. Using external stimulants, but I chose what it was. I didn't turn on the news. I didn't turn on BS. I didn't let my thoughts take over. I used something else in this transition to get me to believe in the power within. That's what all these people talk about. Then I started implementing stretching, and I had to rehab all my injuries. Then I started implementing weightlifting for longevity, not for athletic performance. So there was a shift in my weightlifting. Then I started implementing journaling. This was over about a year. So about a year after my 8 months of sobriety, the first year that I was with my uncle selling liquor, I was doing this little by little until eventually it went from Thursday to Sunday, to Friday to Sunday, to Saturday and Sunday, to only Sunday. And I perfected that balance, 80-20. Once I found the 80-20, my sales rocketed, my housing rocketed, my relationships rocketed, and then I was able to move to New York City. 80-20 is the perfect balance for happiness. 80% healthy, 20% fun. 100% happy, life can't be redone. Small changes over time equal radical growth. What's one thing you're going to add to your foundation right now? Make a choice, stand on it. Now, why is this the last pillar? Because if you don't activate and implement the first four, you're going to be creating from unhealed trauma. You're going to be creating from programming and conditioning. And the purpose of this is to break free and then find your balance. Balance in intention and discipline, and balance in consumption and the societal norm. Because in order to break through the simulation, the mental simulation of our previous programming, we're going to have to dabble in the societal norm to communicate with normal people, to communicate with people who don't choose themselves, to be able to get paid from a job that we might not want to be at, to be able to move through the community and follow the rules and the laws. We have to dabble into the societal norm. But our solitude is where our purpose is strengthened, which is why it's so important to set the foundation. So once we start to implement the systems for the T, the E, the F, the I, the T, the E, the F, the I, the C, that's the choose yourself process. Hold, wait, is that Diddy? Oh shit, taking that out. Once we start to implement systems for the T, the E, the F, the I, then we naturally be able to contribute from authenticity and exemplifying what it means to choose yourself and feel it to heal it. To choose yourself and embrace solitude to boost gratitude. To choose yourself to be chosen. To fill up your cup and then pull from an overflow. The contribution is not always materialistic. You might be given permission to someone to embrace their story and authenticity. That's more valuable than any materialistic thing you can give somebody. It's permission for them to be themselves. So when it comes to triggers, you can't create when you're in reaction mode. If every time something triggers, what you creating? Now you're creating from reaction, out of ego, defense, shutting down, instead of creating from your intention what you said you would do before the trigger came. If you don't control your triggers will pull out a character that you don't want to come out. Then you'll be projecting a character for society instead of your character for society. If I can't commit to no one else, that means I can't commit to myself. So I embrace the solitude to develop that trait of commitment by committing to myself. Pillar 2, why do you have to evaluate your environment and consume mindfully before you start to create? Well, you can't build a masterpiece in a molded basement. Well, you could, but you're going to have asbestos in your throat, coughing and choking. You can't really focus in a dirty basement. So evaluate your environment to cleanse your space, to cleanse your mind, so you can create with clarity and precision. The environment is the soil, and the storm is going to test the roots. If the roots were put into shitty soil, they're not going to hold on to nothing, and the storm going to blow your ass over. It's not testing the leaves. The storm isn't testing what you're wearing or how you're acting. It's testing what character you developed in your soil, in your environment. And when you get real selective about the environment around you, then the soil gets stronger. Your environment is the soil your identity grows from. So the type of environments you're in the most is where your identity grows from. Your consistent choices is where your identity grows from. So the consistent choices in the most consistent environments create a permanence of your self-image. Control what's going into your sensory input. Control who's coming in your bubble. Control the relationships that you entertain. Control what you're watching, because what you consume most will become part of your self-belief. Once I broke free of the party scene, I started to notice my addictions and cravings dissipate, because I wasn't addicted and craving the substances. I was addicting and craving the environment that the substances brought. If you got friends that you can only do toxic shit with, reevaluate your environment. Pillar 3, why is the foundation important to contribution? Well, the foundation is what allows you to heal. It's the building block for you to stand on when you're pouring from an overflow. It's where you go to refill your cup to contribute again. It's your confidence when you contribute and somebody takes advantage of you, because that'll happen. It's your confidence to view someone who might trigger you and still give them the benefit of the doubt, but be able to draw that boundary. The foundation is where you strengthen your awareness so you can figure out what aligns and what doesn't align. The foundation is where you develop the traits, the neurochemicals, to be able to evaluate opportunities that you can capitalize on and then provide for your people. Pillar 4, why is self-investment important to contribution? I remember when I first started setting the foundation, I told my boys, don't call me till Saturday. And they respected it. And they're still here today. Now, if they were like, oh, come on, man, Friday, you got it. Come on, man. I'd be like, man, you ain't my friends. You're party friends. The people that call me to go out, try to convince me to go out when I set the foundation and the boundaries, they ain't around no more. 4, why is self-investment important before you start to contribute? You increase your value. You want to contribute more, contribute to yourself more. The more you fill up your cup, the more you overflow. The more you contribute to yourself, mastering your mind, your personal evolution, your spirituality, your faith in yourself and something greater, the more you contribute to your sleep, to your consumption, to your gut health, the more you can contribute to others. Don't neglect those things and start shifting things because of what you were taught or what somebody told or what somebody expected you to do. All right? Who are you when no one's watching? So you go through the TEFIC. TEFIC starts with your foundation. Your foundation increases your awareness, increases your emotional intelligence. That's what's going to allow you to turn triggers into turning points and persevere through breaking points. The foundation is what creates boundaries and self-respect so you can evaluate your environment and consumption more accurately. The foundation is what will allow you to increase your self-worth and make investments that are aligned with your value and how you value yourself. You want to change the triggers? Foundation. Change your environment, your consumption? Foundation. Prioritize self-investment? Foundation. You want to contribute? Foundation. It's the building block, the golden nugget. It's the actions you can take every day that strengthen the pillars of the Choose Yourself process. The person you become when no one's watching, that's the version you're supposed to work on. That's why the foundation is the time before and after your sleep without people, screens, or toxins, including your kids. I mean, your kids ain't toxic, but without people, including your kids. Well, your kids might be toxic if you neglect yourself for your kids. Now, I understand. I'm not a parent. I understand there's a certain point where you have to do that. But they 10, 12, 13, 14 years old, you still talking about, oh, I can't because of my kids. They can sit and watch shit by themselves. They can sit, go play around by themselves while you stretch, meditate, exercise. Stop playing with yourself. Pause. Also, stop playing with yourself, especially men. Stop beating your meat. You're tripping, unless you make a mistake. Not mistakes. What? Mistakes too, all right? Confidence is created by consistency. Peace is created with your boundaries. Discipline is created with structure. Leadership is created by integrity. Take that to the bank with you. Consistent in your foundation, you exude confidence. Set boundaries for your consumption, protect your peace. Create structure in your time management, in your foundation, develop discipline. Have leadership for yourself, you'll be able to lead others, your actions align, strengthen your integrity. That's how it is. Now, when I first started with the Choose Yourself movement, I was making content and I was saying things online I wasn't quite doing yet offline. But this is what I call the integrity loop. This is where the Choose Yourself community was born, actually. I would say things online to the camera, to other people. The feedback from others then gave me the appreciation for myself because I was contributing to people, but I was contributing from a character for society, not my character for society. But the feeling still felt the same because the mind doesn't know the difference. So the feeling was like, oh, I want to do more. But then I had the other feeling of split integrity and guilt where I'm like, I'm still partying on the weekend. What the hell? So using public accountability and community helped me choose the person in solitude in the Choose Yourself process over the people pleasing and the partying. Because I wanted to be the person that the people online appreciated, not the one that they didn't see that I was ashamed of. So that transition took some weeks, but eventually it worked. So now I created the CYC for some people who may not want to make content. You can come to the CYC, make a claim to people, understanding that the feedback from people will now give you that same feeling that I had. Then you can choose to evolve into the version that the self-choosers in the CYC look at you as from just making a claim instead of the version that you see yourself as sabotaging, neglecting yourself in solitude. Now, if you're living off your conditioning and off the societal norm, you're going to have a predictable life. If you're living off of what your family told you and what they brought you up as, you're going to be out of date because they old. Now you done got inherited personality. You ain't even got your personality. You still thinking of yourself like your mama when she told you to shut your ass up. You still thinking of yourself like your daddy when he said, boy, you're stupid. Come on now. They old. Let that shit go. Okay? They came from a different time in life. Most people don't even know who they are. They only know who they've been told to be. You develop an A character or your character. Choose yourself. The reason why the foundation helps us persevere under pressure and choose ourselves when old conditioning and old programming and old environments pop up is because it is our foundational baseline. Now, your default mode network will reinforce old identity loops unless it's disrupted by new intentional behaviors. If you don't do nothing, you're going to get the same shit. If you don't embrace uncomfortability and put your phone down on time and wake up and do conscious expansion and conscious control and exercise and push-ups and lift weights and cardio and meditation and journaling, ain't nothing gonna change. These are the systems to help disrupt the old identity loops. And yeah, it's uncomfortable at first, but you embrace discomfort, embrace the journey, and there you go. Momentum, baby. Now you think I went from bartending for 10 years to selling liquor. I thought I was going to be the owner of the company, selling liquor, opening bars. But when I moved to New York City and the liquor company shut down, I didn't go seeking fulfillment, a full-time job in another liquor company. I actually invested into the Choose Yourself movement. That's when that was born because that was my calling. That was me developing a character. That was me developing my character instead of a character from my past experiences and past beliefs, my default mode network. That was a shifting point. I went into personal development from the liquor industry. Now people are like, how do you promote health, but you got a liquor brand? I'm like, shit, because I like to party. I like to drink the good shit. I go out, turn up. I go out, eat some fried food, eat some pizza, sweet shit, hit the hookah. Shit. But I get back to the baseline every time. The foundation, the 80%, that's where the growth is. The 20% is where you let go, relax, and see if you can get back. It's a test to your systems. And I win every time. Programming is real. Some of y'all still running on Windows 96 dial-up. Where you got to be plugged into the wall, but you're plugged into your phone. What you doing? Purpose is not found. It's expressed from lived experience. That's why you got to embrace your story to find your purpose, the GPS. Embrace your story, tap into your passion, give people your gift. Your story makes you credible. Your healing makes you creative. You take credibility and creativity for your contribution. Take your story and your healing and contribute your authenticity to others. Story equals meaning, equals mission, equals contribution. Come on now. Contribution is not people-pleasing. Don't fool yourself. It's given from fullness, not exhaustion. If you're exhausted and you're pushing through to give to others, you need to check yourself. Now, if you give from abundance, it increases serotonin and oxytocin, the feel-good hormones. If you give from exhaustion, if you give from pressure, it increases cortisol, stress hormone. So why are you contributing and where are you contributing from? Reflect on that. All right. Now the CYC, the retreats, my speaking events, they come from an overflow because I set the foundation and I'm so excited to contribute what I've learned in the foundation to others. I can barely sleep. I'm constantly creating because it comes from purpose, story, passion to provide my gift. I don't feel obligated. I feel obligated to fulfill my purpose, and these are the things I do to fulfill my purpose, instilled in me by my creator, but I'm not doing it from pressure. If it is, it's pressure I put on myself by presenting a version that is now being perceived by certain people, which is why I had to add balance into the Choose Yourself mission, because I still like to relax, turn up, and de-pattern. Now, here's your creative blueprint. Own your story. Define who you want to be. Build the habits that match that identity. Protect your environment. Invest in talents, tools, and teachers. Express your gift with authenticity, and then contribute so you can pull from an overflow. That's the blueprint. That's what the TEFIC is for. That blueprint. Own, define, build, protect, invest, express, contribute. Bang, bang, 7 steps. And stop trying to inspire the world if you can't even inspire yourself to fold them damn clothes. What you doing? Contribution is the final pillar because it requires every pillar before to create the character that you want to contribute to the people. That's how you give from abundance. You go through all 4 pillars, then you contribute from abundance because you done processed the triggers, you evaluated your environment and mindful consumption, you set the foundation to develop the traits, and you invested in yourself. Now your cup is full as hell. You're overflowing onto your people, your community, and everywhere. Hope you got some towels. It's all over the flow, for sure. I'm trying to stay in the flow and grow some more. Look at my skin glow and my mind grow. Come on now. Your story is the strategy. Your pain is the power. Your authenticity, that's the impact. Inner size, what is a trait you wish you had? How can you get it? If you don't know, DM me. We could work together. All right. So we made it. We finished the TEFIC, y'all. The 5 pillars of the Choose Yourself process. Recognize your trigger points. By doing the work before the trigger point, by embracing your story to understand why you're getting triggered. Evaluate your environment. Is it in alignment with the person you want to be? Consume mindfully. Eliminate distractions and vices. People, screens, conversations, movies, podcasts, how your place smells. Not just what you watch, what you drink, what you smoke, what you're listening to, who you follow when you scroll, the people on your feed. Evaluate all that. 3, foundation. The time before and after your sleep, where you implement the systems to develop the traits to be able to push through adversity, identify your triggers, set boundaries on your consumption, and get over it and get after it. A place of control where you can embrace discomfort so you can expand your comfort zone and grow some more. 4, self-investment. Time, energy, resources back into yourself. Take time on your healing. Use your energy for yourself to give more energy to others. Don't give the last of your energy to other people. Give the last of your energy to stay disciplined to your foundation. Your resources, your money. Start investing into personal development, different books, different communities, different retreats, different networking events, different speaking engagements, different food, hydration, products, gut repair solution, electrolytes, natural remedies, whatever you like, instead of into the quick fixes and devices. Then you develop an understanding of the person you want to be, and you may not be there yet, but you see the vision, and then you can see that version, figure out what would that version do right now, continue to follow that path. And that's the Choose Yourself process. If that sounds like your people, if that sounds like something you down to get down with, if that sounds like some people you want to be around, you can catch us on a retreat. You can catch us on the Choose Yourself tour, speaking in a city near you. You can catch us in the CYC Zoom every Tuesday at 10 a.m. EST. You can grab the book, keep listening to the podcast. These are things that will help you consume mindfully and understand who you are and the power that is within, because you weren't born to fit in. You were born to build something that doesn't exist yet, and it has to come from your imagination that's not blocked by your conditioning. It's strengthened in your foundation. In the meantime, big dream time. Keep the gratitude in your attitude, and let's get it.